talk about the WNBA. They have made an offer that the players probably best not refuse at this point. It is a sizable offer. It is a step up from what was already a very lucrative offer that was, roughly almost 4 times what they're getting paid right now. Something right around, it was around $1 million a year on a Supermax. Some came out and said it was $850,000. The WNBA is stepping up their game now.
The WNBA has released a new contract proposal, and it's bigger than anything they've ever offered before. Player salaries would go way up, and for the first time in league history, the highest paid players could make over $1 million a year. Even Caitlin Clark could earn more than $1 million annually. But there's a catch that many players aren't happy about, and it's causing a lot of debate. This deal could change women's basketball in a major way. Let me know what you think. Do you think WNBA players should take this huge pay raise, or should they wait for an even better deal with more revenue sharing? The league just shocked everyone by offering a new CBA that could completely change how money works in women's basketball. This isn't a small raise, this is a major shift. For the first time ever, the top salary would be over $1 million a year. Just think about that. WNBA players could finally earn more than $1 million annually. That's something the league has never seen before, and it's truly historic.
Now officially over $1 million. Now part of this is, and this is going to be interesting because $1 million or over $1 million sound a lot better 6 weeks ago before the emergence of Project B and actual WNBA players signing with Project B for what has already been, it's already been revealed, a minimum of $2 million. And I can tell you right now, Gumake, Alyssa Thomas, and Jonquel Jones got more than $2 million.
But before anyone gets too excited, there's a lot to look at. The old CBA was supposed to end on October 31st, 2025, but both the league and the players' union agreed to push the deadline to November 30th so they could keep negotiating. That extra time allowed both sides to think about what the new deal should include. The WNBA used that time to put together an offer they believed players might accept. Reports say the new CBA would begin in the 2026 season and include major salary boosts. For example, players with 0 to 2 years of experience would have a new minimum salary of $220,000. That's already a big jump from what players used to make. And for players with 3 or more years in the league, the minimum salary would go up to over $460,000. That's more than 4 times higher than the old minimums. These aren't small updates, these are life-changing numbers for the regular players who don't earn the maximum salary. The maximum salary would go above $1.1 million per player. And here's the key part, more than one player on a team could earn that maximum amount. That's very different from many other leagues where only 1 or 2 stars get the top salary. In this WNBA proposal, several players on the same roster could make over $1 million. That's a huge change. It means teams could build true championship-level squads while paying multiple stars at the highest level. And throughout the entire CBA, these salaries would continue to rise, giving players steady increases over time. This is how salary growth is supposed to work. Players wouldn't just get one raise and then stay at the same number for years, they'd get yearly increases that match inflation and the league's growth. That's what fair negotiations are meant to provide. The impact on Caitlin Clark would be huge. As one of the league's top players, she would qualify for the maximum salary, meaning she could make over $1 million a year. A few years ago, that kind of pay for a women's basketball player felt impossible. The fact that she could reach it now shows how much the league has changed, and how much her own popularity has helped push that change forward.
Exciting news just recently about the new offer from the WNBA to the players with a max salary of $1.1 million that goes up each year of the contract, plus a higher league minimum at $220,000. So all really, really good news. Things are trending up in that way. Now, we still have one major problem, at least one major problem. And in all actuality, this is what is stopping the deal from getting done right here. It's in black and white. You can see it. This is what is stopping the deal from getting done.
But this is where things get complicated. The WNBPA, the players' union, wants more than just higher salaries. They're asking for charter flights so players can travel on private planes instead of commercial airlines like they do now. They want better benefits, larger rosters, and changes to the prioritization rules so players have more control over their schedules and time off. These are major quality of life issues that go far beyond money alone.
We know all of that stuff. This is where we got to get to. The November 19th update. Okay? This is what is stopping the
But the union's biggest concern is revenue sharing tied to how much the league grows. This is the main issue. The players don't just want fixed salary bumps. They want their pay to increase whenever the league's revenue increases. And when you think about it, it makes sense. If the league starts making more money, shouldn't the players who create that revenue get a fair share of it? Right now, under the current agreement, salaries only go up by 3% each year, no matter how much the league earns. The union says that's not fair. Players currently get only about 9% of the league's total revenue, and they believe that number should be higher. In the NBA, players receive about 49% to 51% of all revenue. That's a huge difference compared to the WNBA's 9%. The union says women's basketball players deserve a revenue-sharing system closer to what NBA players get. But according to reports, the WNBA's new offer keeps the same fixed system. So the league is agreeing to give players a historic raise, but they're not agreeing to share revenue based on how much the league grows. The message from the league is basically, here's a big raise, but it's fixed. You'll get yearly increases, but they won't change even if profits rise. The union, on the other hand, is saying, we'll take the raise, but we also want a share of the league's growth. This creates a clear disagreement between the two sides. This puts players in a tough spot. The salary increases being offered are truly historic. Minimum salaries for young players would more than triple, and maximum salaries would more than double or even more. These raises could change lives and finally give players real long-term financial security. But turning down the offer to push for revenue sharing comes with real risks. Negotiations could stall, or the league could refuse to move any further. And without a new CBA, the WNBA can't move forward with the expansion draft, free agency, or even the 2026 draft. All of these are necessary for the league to operate normally. If no agreement is reached by the November 30th deadline, there could be a work stoppage. Players might strike, and the season could be delayed. Both sides want to avoid that, but they're also using the pressure to gain leverage. The league is basically saying, we're giving you historic raises, accept them. The union is saying, raises are great, but we deserve a share of the league's growth too. What makes the situation even more intense is the timing. Just recently, Alyssa Thomas and Nneka Agwemike signed with Project B, a Saudi-backed women's league offering big salaries and major off-season opportunities. These signings show that WNBA players now have real alternatives, and that could impact negotiations even more. Players now have real options, and that gives them more power in negotiations. The WNBA understands that if they don't offer competitive pay, top players could leave for other leagues. Project B, for example, runs from November 2026 to April 2027, basically covering the entire WNBA offseason. Instead of going overseas for short stints, players could join a well-funded women's league that pays big money and offers worldwide exposure. Project B is offering high salaries, equity shares, and an 11-week global schedule that appeals to players who want to compete year-round while earning serious income. Another option is Unrivaled, which also gives players alternatives outside the WNBA. These new leagues show that women's basketball is growing far beyond just the WNBA. Players now realize they have more than one way to build a career, and that gives them major leverage in negotiations. If they feel the WNBA isn't valuing them, they can realistically choose to play somewhere else. The fact that the WNBA is offering such huge salary increases proves they're taking these rival leagues seriously. They know that without competitive pay, they could lose top talent to Project B, Unrivaled, and other new competitions. So these historic salary offers are partly the league responding to this outside pressure. They want to keep their stars loyal and invested. From the WNBA's viewpoint, the offer makes business sense. They're saying, we can't commit to revenue sharing yet, but we can give you big, fixed raises. The union's response is, if the league is profitable and growing, players should share in that growth too. Both sides actually make good points. The players' argument for revenue sharing is strong, especially when you look at how fast women's basketball is growing. Viewership is rising, more fans are going to games, and media deals are improving. Players like Caitlin Clark are a huge part of that growth, so it
The
makes
union
sense
has
that
to
they
try
should
to serve
benefit when the
all these
league makes
interests
more money.
simultaneously,
Getting only
which is
9%
difficult.
of revenue while
The
NBA players
emergence
get
of
around
alternative leagues
50%
like
feels
Project B
unfair.
also
But the
changes the
WNBA's
calculus.
perspective also
If
makes
the
sense.
WNBA
The
players
league
reject
still
this
isn't as
offer
profitable
and
as the
negotiations drag
NBA.
on,
It doesn't have the
some
same
players might
financial
choose to sign
strength,
with
global
Project B
reach, or
instead.
long-term stability.
That would
If
create
they
a
agree
brain
to
drain
revenue
where the
sharing now and the league hits a
WNBA
slow year,
loses some of
they'd
its
still
top
be
talent to
required to pay
alternative
players higher
competitions.
percentages.
That would be
That's
bad
a big
for the league's
financial
product
risk.
and competitiveness.
So the league prefers fixed raises that they can
WNBA
predict
knows
and
this,
manage.
which is why
Caitlin
they're
Clark
probably
plays an
pushing for a
important
quick
role in all of
resolution.
this. She's the face of the
Ultimately,
league's recent
what this
growth,
negotiation
and the
represents is a
WNBA knows
watershed
how
moment for
important
women's
she is to its
basketball.
popularity.
The WNBA
If she feels
is
underpaid
offering
or unhappy
compensation
with the
that would have
league's
seemed
direction, she
impossible
could
5 years
influence
ago.
many other players.
That's genuine
She could push
progress.
harder for revenue sharing or
question
bigger
is
changes.
whether players
The
feel
league
that's
wants to
enough
keep her
progress,
satisfied to
or whether
avoid
they want to
unrest.
push for even
The
more
timing of this
fundamental
offer is
changes to
also
how they're
critical.
compensated.
The WNBA
Both
wants to
sides have
take
legitimate
advantage of the
arguments.
excitement around
Both
stars
sides are
like
using
Caitlin
leverage
Clark and Alyssa
effectively.
Reese.
The outcome
If they
will
don't
likely
reach a
shape
deal by the
professional
deadline,
women's
all that
basketball for
momentum
years to
could
come.
stall. The
The fact that this
2026
is happening
season
at
might get
all
delayed,
shows
which
how
would be
far the
terrible
league has
timing
come.
just as the league is gaining
10
national
years
attention.
ago,
So the players have tough
WNBA
decisions
wasn't
to
having
make.
these
Do
conversations
they take
about
the
revenue
historic
sharing.
salary increases now?
Players weren't
Do they hold
demanding
out for
charter
revenue
flights.
sharing and risk a work
Salaries weren't
stoppage?
exceeding $1
Do they
million.
negotiate for a mix of big
The league was
raises and
just
some form
trying
of
to
revenue
survive.
sharing? It's
Now the
complicated,
conversation
especially
has
because
shifted
not
to
all
how to
players
fairly
want the same
distribute the
thing.
wealth being generated
Superstars
by
like
a
Caitlin
growing
Clark may
business.
have different priorities than
That's a
players
fundamentally
making minimum
different discussion,
salaries.
and it
All of
reflects
these factors
genuine
make this one
progress
of the
for
most
women's
important
basketball.
decisions in
The
WNBA
WNBA's
history.
offer is
Superstar
historic,
players
but
like Caitlin
incomplete.
Clark may care more
Salary
about the
increases are
maximum salary,
massive,
since
but
they're
revenue
already
sharing
earning at the
remains
top.
off the table.
Veteran players might focus on
Caitlin Clark
raising
and
the
other
minimum
players have
salary
to
to help
decide
their teammates.
if this is enough
Younger
or if they
players
should
may
push
just
for
want
more.
any raise that gives them
If
more
you think
security.
players should
The
accept
union
this
has to
deal,
balance all
hit
these
that
different
like button.
priorities at once, which isn't
Subscribe
easy.
for more
The rise of
WNBA
leagues like
coverage.
Project B also changes
Comment
things.
below.
If
What's more
WNBA
important,
players reject this
massive
offer and
salary
talks drag
increases or
on,
revenue
some could
sharing
decide to sign
guarantees?
with Project B, leading to a major loss of talent. That would hurt the WNBA's competitiveness, and the league knows it, another reason they want a fast agreement. Overall, this negotiation is a turning point for women's basketball. The WNBA is offering pay levels that would have sounded impossible just 5 years ago. That's real progress. But players now have to decide whether this progress is enough, or if they should push for bigger changes like revenue sharing. Both sides have strong arguments, and both are using their leverage. Whatever happens will shape women's basketball for years. The fact we're even having this debate shows how far the league has come. 10 years ago, no one was talking about revenue sharing, charter flights, or million-dollar salaries. Back then, the league's biggest concern was survival. Now the conversation is about how to fairly share the money being generated by a growing sport. That's a major shift, and it's a sign of real progress. The WNBA's offer is historic, but it isn't complete. Players get huge raises, but revenue sharing is still missing. Now Caitlin Clark and the rest of the league have to decide, is this offer enough, or is it time to push for more? If you think players should accept this deal, hit that like button. Subscribe for more WNBA updates. And tell me, what matters more, massive salary increases or guaranteed revenue sharing?